my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, this week it's our good friend and patron Justin's pick. But just before that, I want to say thank you to everyone for the support over the last few weeks. Massive community of people, friends, everyone, including yourself, Dave. You've been a massive support. You know, we've had some quite devastating news about Sam, my wife, and we're just working through it. So the podcast's a little bit late this week for our patrons, but we had a chat on Discord, and basically we decided we had a last minute trip to Vegas, and then while we were there, Sam's like, I want to stay a bit longer, and I was like, well, you don't have to twist my arm. It's my favourite fucking place and holiday destination. So a bit of wheelie dealing, a bit of freebies thrown in from the hotel after I got my violin out for some of the indiscretions that had happened while I was there, mainly me blocking the toilet twice, but that was blamed on the hotel, Dave. And a £200 admin charge with Virgin, and we ended up staying for 2 days extra. So as much as I'm joking about it, it was, you know this, and our Discord friends know this, but Sam's been diagnosed, unfortunately, with ALS, stroke, MND, in America, ALS. So we're working through that, unfortunately, and it's not something you recover from or can get better on. It's a progressive illness, so it's absolutely devastated us as a family. But we want to go and do things while Sam's able to and enjoy life, and things like that. So that's where we are. And I did mention it the other week on the podcast, but I thought it'd be just good to mention to everybody. So the podcast's not going to change. You've said that you'll support me, whatever we do. And I said, no, I want to do it. I love doing the podcast. I love getting called out for my shoulder injuries and being a bell end as I am, Dave. Let's just keep... And everything, the duck thing and all that stuff. That I'm just making stuff up as I go along. That's exactly what I need to keep doing. So, no, thank you to everyone for the support over the last few weeks. Anyway, you especially, mate. But anyway, we are going to be doing, as I said, it's Justin's pick. We're going back to 1991, Dave. We are going to be reviewing a movie starring the late great Mr. John Candy, Maureen O'Hara, Ali Sheedy, we know was a favourite of yours, Dave, and Kevin Dunn. So we're going to be doing Only the Lonely. So I know we talked about it on the trailer last time, Dave, but anything prick your thing to go, you know what? Pricks your thing, Dave. Another metaphor. Wonderful. Great to be back. Anything, do you remember seeing this, or is this the first time you've watched it?
I'm not sure it pricks my thing, but I think I even after watching it, right, I am not sure if I've seen it, because there's definitely bits of this movie that are familiar, and I've definitely seen before. There's a moment where John Candy's trying to hide Ali Sheedy behind him, and he's walking in a funny kind of comedic way to protect or to hide the fact that Ali Sheedy's behind him from his mother. And I remember that quite clearly, but it's also in the trailer as well. So I don't know if I've just seen it in the trailer, but it doesn't make sense. It's a bit of an anomaly, this one, because coming out at this time, I mean, it wasn't written and directed by John Hughes, but he was one of the producers. You had Chris Columbus, who'd done lots of stuff as well. Like, say, John Candy, I loved. Ali Sheedy, had a big crush on at the time. Jim Belushi. It doesn't make sense to me that I wouldn't have watched this one more. And then when we watched the trailer, I'm thinking, oh, God, is this a bit of a turkey? Is this why... no one's seen it because it was that awful? But even, we've watched some shockers that were still, pretty popular in 1991. So I don't know, Chris. I may have seen it, I may not. It is familiar, but maybe it's just all the other things in the kind of John Hughes, Chris Columbus universe. So, I mean, how about yourself?
Yeah, I definitely not seen it, but a bit like you, I don't know whether I've come across the trailer on a VHS, like one a rental from Blockbusters or Global, wherever I used to get my videos. it feels familiar. And obviously, John Candy, this is a couple of years before he passed away, but John Candy, at this point, I suppose, I never would have thought about in 91, but I suppose his star had sort of waned a little bit on it. I know he did Cool Runnings around the late 80s, maybe early
Uncle
90s,
Buck.
but Uncle Buck's not a bad movie, actually. But then it's sort of like, yeah, it feels familiar, and watching the trailer felt familiar, but I know I've definitely not watched it. And James Belushi being in it as well, like, Dave, we've got to do Red Heat at some point. I was thinking about that because I used to love that movie with Arnie, so I may have shot my load again, Dave, with an early pick, but that's something that we're going to... It's on my list now, again, Red Heat. What great film. Love James Belushi. So, no, never seen it. It feels dead familiar. The trailer, it just feels as if I've seen the trailer a couple of times while I've been renting certain movies around the early 90s. But no, I think it's interesting where Justin stands on this as well, because like you look at, it was box office success, 25.1 million, but it had mixed reviews, and I can sort of see why. But then watching it for the first time, you're like, why have I never watched this? So yeah, I'm a bit mixed on this one today, Dave. But also, I've wanted to talk about this now for nearly 10 days. It would have been 7 if someone hadn't gone on holiday. But there you go, Dave. And we're actually recording this as I've just got off my plane 2 hours ago. So I am running on absolute jet fuel, water, and it's 35 degrees in my gaming studio, Dave. So it's fucking great. We love it. I love the podcast. No, I do. This is a commitment from both of us. You've done the same sort of stuff. It's like we just don't like missing. We always try and be consistent. It's a good anchor for both of us. So I'm just so glad that I'm recording and just having a laugh, I must admit.
And I know you're all serious, but of course we've just had the news as well that Judith Chalmers has passed away. So there is a vacancy, and I do think you could be in there.
Well, the thing is, Dave, I'm going away in about another 5 weeks. So Judith's bags end up going back in the garage, and I'm looking at them going, I'm going to bring in these back in a couple of weeks and start it all over again. So, some of them is because of the circumstances, unfortunately, brought some of my holidays forward, but it's more, you do call me Judith Chalmers. And I did see on Twitter, R.I.P. to the legend, that because there's some people like, well, I'm older than that. People used to call me Alan Wicker, and I'm thinking, fuck me, it's fucking granddad's age, that Alan Wicker. Fucking hell, like early 80s or something. But Judith Chalmers, absolutely, you always call me Judith. Oh, fucking away, Judith again, because I've always got a holiday. It's like, I ring Virgin Atlantic up looking to say upgrade my seats if I go in Vegas, and I always go back to go, they can't upgrade the seats, but I put a trip in a few because they would get it so cheap. It's like $1,000 for 3 of us to get to Vegas. It's like with the scams, I'll have to, if anyone wants any information on that, and it's not illegal, by the way, it's just that you need a Virgin Atlantic credit card. But I'm always booking these fucking holidays and then begging for forgiveness, Dave. Even if we just paid one off, I'm like, right, let's do it. So that's why I'm away. But yes, R.I.P. Judith, absolute legend. But if there is an opening, Dave, I may be off anyway. I mean, you could come and be the producer, the editor. You could be there.
When you ring up, are they like, yeah, Chris, how's it going?
Yeah. Well, you've gone to Vegas again to shoot. Well, yeah, we need some B-roll in Vegas. Yeah. But we're not doing Vegas. We're in Cambodia. Yeah, but we need a bit of Vegas for the story. It's fine.
Well, on that note, should we get into our trailer?
Let's go.
In the city of Chicago, where love is complicated and mothers are somehow even more complicated,
comes Only the Lonely, the romantic comedy that asks, what if emotional guilt was a family tradition?
Danny Muldoon, hard-working cop, loyal son.
A man trapped between true love and a mother who could weaponize disappointment.
Then he meets Teresa, shy, kind, and completely unprepared for his family.
Honestly, she deserved hazard pay just for turning up to dinner.
Love blossoms, feelings deepen.
While everybody communicates exclusively through passive aggression and loud opinions.
But Danny must make an impossible choice.
Be happy or avoid upsetting his mother. The true Catholic dilemma, Dave.
From a time when romantic comedies had sincerity, heart, and John Candy looking permanently stressed.
Comes a film where every argument feels one meatball away from becoming a full-scale incident, and I'm worried about this accent, Dave, because I might get cancelled by the end of this episode.
Only the lonely.
A touching story about love, family, and the emotional damage of never moving out.
Sometimes love takes courage.
And sometimes it takes ignoring about 14 guilt trips in a row.
Chicago police officer Danny Muldoon is a lonely 38-year-old bachelor who spent his life caring for his overbearing mother, Rose. Since his father's death, Danny has carried his family's burdens, helping his brother Patrick through law school while quietly surrendering his own chances at happiness. But when a bizarre encounter at a local bar leads him to Teresa Luna, the shy daughter of a funeral director, Danny glimpses a life beyond obligation. As romance begins to stir, he must decide whether he can finally step out from under Rose's shadow and claim a future of his own. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Well, Dave, before we get into this, right, just going off the trailer, and obviously there's a bit of a religious tone in this as well, and being, brought up Catholic, but luckily it was more to do with the standard of schools in my area, Dave, than it was actually the religion side, even though my family's Irish on my mum's side, and they are very Catholic and all that. However, I've got to tell you this story, Dave. So we're on the Las Vegas Strip yesterday, and you know me, I've got my little DJI Osmo camera. I'm always filming for the vlogs and stuff. So we've got, all of a sudden, you're walking down the Strip, and it's like fucking scorched earth. It's that hot. It's even hotter than what it is here. It's over 100 degrees. It's fucking roasting. You know what Vegas is like. It's absolutely steaming. So we're going in Planet Hollywood, and we're going to have a walk down, and we're going to walk down the Strip. And so Sam's got to use her energy, wisely. So I said, look, we'll get an Uber if you don't bother about, if you don't want to walk too far. Cause it's a bit like New York, Vegas, as you know, you can just keep walking and walking. So she's like, no. Anyway, come outside, right? These fucking 4 guys with massive placards attached to them with like, Jesus will save you, you sinners. You're in Las Vegas. This guy's got one of them fucking megaphones like fucking Tackleberry or fucking Police Academy. As people are walking down the Strip across the road from the Bellagio where Planet Hollywood, he's literally in the face with the fucking things in their ear. He's like, you are sinners. You will die sinners. You're gambling. It's disgraceful. There is only one God, and he repents your sins, and you're going to burn in hell and all this. I'm thinking, this isn't very religious, is it? You're going on about these sinners, but you're sort of saying that everyone should die because the guy was so smart ass.
They expect to find in Las Vegas as well.
Exactly. And plus, Dave, my spidey senses are twitching then because I'm thinking this fucking bellend's probably getting a fucking hand job or fucking Mario or fucking Luigi, one of the people dressed up as well, the fucking hypocrite. But anyway, so Sam and Jordan are walking in front and I'm filming, and I had to do it. There's fucking hundreds of people and he's screaming. It's right outside the Paris Hotel at this point. So you're right looking over the Bellagio fountain and everyone's just sat there in a drink and he's just fucking megaphoning it. People are walking past with their hands in their ears. So I just went over to the first one. I went, excuse me. And he's like, and he wouldn't speak to me. I went, excuse me. I said, have you heard about the Saviour Michael Carrick? And he went, Michael who? I went, Michael Carrick. I said, it's in the scriptures. He went, what scriptures? I went, it's in the scriptures. Michael Carrick, he's going to save us all. And this guy's going like that. So the first guy sort of takes me up, goes, and off, he sort of holds him and goes, thanks for that. And then just walks off. And Sam's going, don't fucking start the next one. The next one comes. So I'm there, smart ass on the camera. So he's going, and he wouldn't even look at me, the next guy. He would not look at me. And he's got this big fucking placard on, like, God will see everyone's sins. Las Vegas is evil. And the fucking megaphone in it. And I just went, have you heard about Michael Carrick? And he went, who? Don't speak to me. I went, Michael Carrick, he's the saviour. I said, you need to read his scriptures. I said, unbelievable. I said, get online and learn about Michael Carrick. No, Michael Carrick. Then he goes, you're going to burn in hell. He's screaming at me. And Sam's going, just fucking get away from. I am fucking crying. I'm going, this isn't very religious. How can you say this to me? Read about Michael Carrick. He's our Lord Saviour. Oh, Dave, I was just being a complete bellend, but this guy just went fucking absolutely psycho. He was screaming at us as I was going in the casino, and I'm thinking, if he is a god, I'm going to get struck down in the next 10 minutes. I'm going to put money in a machine and he's going to blow up and take me out. But what a fucking bellend. It was my spidey senses of like, being, we're brought up in a Catholic church thinking they're all fucking bent, these priests. Our priests used to have to go and get the offertory and the fucking Holy Communion. He'd go to Victoria Wine and get a bottle for Sunday and a bottle for himself and get fucking levered on it. So anyway, luckily, there's been nothing more than just, a few priests getting drunk, Dave. Nothing other ever happened to me, honest, Your Honour. But I didn't mean to do it, but my spidey senses were like, you bunch of fucking hypocrites. I've got to say something smart. And the second guy, he just took the bait. The first one was probably going, I don't know who Michael Carrick is. He was fine. The second guy went absolutely. Now, Sam was fucking going mad at me. Jordan going, get away from I'm such a dick, honestly, at times. I couldn't help myself.
I mean, you wouldn't be the first person this year to misquote the Bible.
It's the Manchester United Bible.
It should say St. Michael of and the story of Carrick or something. But,
hey, wait. I mean, Dave, we don't talk about football enough. I'm
quite comfortable, actually. I think the expectations for next season, I can see a screenshot right now, £10, United to win the title.
Already gone on.
Like, this year it's going to come.
I'm telling you, Dave, the team that's got the most points since Mr. Carrick came in, he's the saviour. But anyway, I'm not saying any more. I shouldn't bring religious into the podcast. I just had to say that story that my bellendness had to come out at that point, and I was just full on being a dick. But anyway, sorry, I've railroaded the whole podcast. So this movie. Right, so I've got some family stuff to talk about as well, Dave, about his mum. So his mum reminds me, and I think I said this to you when we were talking about it off the podcast, the story and the dynamic, and bear with me on this because it's a completely different character, completely thing. It reminds me of Tony Soprano and his mum. His mum's fucking horrible in their first 2 or 3 seasons. I know, unfortunately, the poor actress who played her, she ended up, she lost a lot of weight. She had cancer and she actually died in the 3rd series, I think it was. But what a great part she plays. She's horrible to Tony. No matter what he does, she's on his back. And this mum reminds me of that, fucking Danny Muldoon. What a fucking name, Danny Muldoon. His brother Patrick. Fuck me. You said this before. You're right. And it also reminds me, Dave, PTSD it's very similar to my nana. She is like that. I got with Sam, and she's saying Sam was after my money. Now, bear with me on Dave. So if Sam's after my money, she was 26, I was 19. I moved into her house, Dave, with a mountain bike, a bag full of clothes, and a bag full of fucking videos. She had a mortgage, a car, a fucking savings, and apparently she was after my money. I was on £70 a week at Manchester Airport, so I don't know how that works, but this sort of stuff is what my nan's done to all of us over the years, and I can say it freely about her because I'm not being disrespectful. It's like she wants all to grow up. Or I used to love it when my brother-in-law would go around, right, and my sister's not with my brother-in-law now, but he'd go round, and all of a sudden he went from being this athlete. He's calling him fucking Bex, Dave. He never played like Bex. He was just a greedy bastard at football. But he had the hair and everything like Beckham, like the early 2000s and everything. He was a good footballer. It was one of the ones he played 5-a-side.
Was it lemon juice in the hair?
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. I might have had that myself, but yeah, that 2002 Beckham look. But he's one of them guys. If you play 5-a-side of him, he's just a greedy bastard. You wanted to be on the other team, so you could just absolutely poleaxe him because he's just so fucking greedy. But she used to he used to go around there, and I used to piss myself laughing. And my sister would be there, Lois, and she'd be like, she's fucking giving like 2 massive barm cakes with fucking cheese on, then a bag of crisps, then a cake, then chocolate, right? We know what's coming, Dave. This is pure comedy. Jim Royal special or whatever. I'd go around the next day and she'd go, oh, that fat bastard, he was eating all sorts when he was here. She's not feeding him. And she used to go, oh, she can do better than him. And she would do this like emotional blackmail on us all, like as if like we weren't allowed to, like I had a Father's Day once and she blagged it and said she'd fell over. And she hadn't. And then I went to the hospital on Father's Day, ruined my Father's Day. And she sat there eating a bag of crisps and brought a picnic. Just knew I was going to be there for, other stories, obviously. But this is giving me PTSD because this is the stuff I don't speak to my old man, but it's his mum and she's still alive, but he won't speak to her because of stuff like this. So watching this film, maybe this is why we've never watched it. Maybe my old man watched it and just fucking, binned it and said, right, you're not watching it. It might have given him a PTSD, but it is very well written. And I feel the start of it's John Candy 101. I just don't feel, he doesn't feel Del Griffiths, or he doesn't, I don't know, there's just something missing slightly from his performance in this, and I can't work out what it is. He almost feels like he's going through the motions, or there's a lot of the movie cut that would have given it a bit, but it is an hour and 40. So sorry, I've waffled. It's just, I found it quite a fascinating movie, and also one that I'd never really seen, even though I said the trailer's familiar. I don't think it's ever been on UK TV. I could be wrong.
Yeah, so I think I understand why this wouldn't have been, a critical success at the time. And had I watched it in 91, I don't think I'd have enjoyed it that much. And I don't think it's necessarily John Candy's phoning it in, but I think he's just trying to play, a more complex character. I mean, in Planes, Trains and Automobiles, you get that moment right at the end after Dale's been a buffoon through most of the movie, but then right at the end, it's that absolute gut punch when, you find out about his wife and everything. Whereas this one, it's more throughout the whole movie where he's trying to play it as a more, bit more complex. And the comedy, I think, is toned down. There's not the over the not even over the top, but the in your face comedy that there is in other John Candy movies. I think even the comedy is toned down. And so, yeah, I think that is it. And also, I mean, they're playing around with these surreal cutaways, aren't they? Because every time he thinks about spending some time, just doing things for himself, like he ends up imagining that his mum, Rose, comes to a brutal death or something like that. And it guilt trips him to, oh, no, don't worry about it. I'll give up my life and then focus on her. And I don't know what there must be some kind of psychology label for, Rose's personality and the way she just puts everyone down. But in particular, Danny, the person closest to her, the person she should be most grateful for. I don't know what it is, but definitely that overbearing mother is played across, like you say, The Sopranos is an obvious one as well, but I'm sure we've seen it in other media too.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a bit of a cliche, and maybe you're right. Maybe because John Candy is playing a more complex character, it doesn't come across. I think James Belushi's a bit lost in this though as well, Dave. I don't think he's used enough. He's sort of like, at this point in 91, he wasn't just a supporting actor. Obviously I picked Mr. Destiny, which was late 80s, 88, 89. I think it was just before Linda Hamilton got into, Sarah Connor mode 2.0. But it's sort of like he was in Red Heat, 88 and all that sort of thing. So he wasn't a small-time actor. He'd held his own, but he's just used like for almost comedy purposes, isn't he? And he's not used enough. I find that his brother is miscast. I think James Belushi would have been better as his brother. I know they don't look alike, but Patrick, he's fucking weird that anyway. So Danny fucking Muldoon, what a great name. Danny Muldoon, he put his brother through fucking medical lawyer school or whatever the fuck it is, right? On a police salary.
Yeah.
What fucking money is he on in the Chicago fucking PD to be able to pay for himself, live with his mum, and then actually support his brother's fucking studies at university? That is absolute bullshit. I'm not having that at all, unless he gets a discount or something. But that was just ridiculous. And when he was having the conversations with his brother, I was like, there's no chemistry here. I think James Belushi's just completely underutilized in this. He definitely should have been his brother or something, that foil, because the Patrick guy was just like a fucking door. It was just like I talked to a fucking brick wall. He was absolutely useless.
Yeah, I guess Danny's not got to pay any rent though, has he? That's the one thing. So I guess he sacrificed most of his salary to put Patrick through school or whatever. But you're right. I mean, Kevin, played by Patrick. Kevin Dunn is the one who's playing Patrick Muldoon. He's been in a bunch of stuff, hasn't he? But he does seem like the odd one out, doesn't he? I mean, you've got Jim Belushi's there. Like you say, he is a bit underutilized. I don't find any of his lines being particularly funny either. You know, he's talking it. You know, in the opening scene, I think he's talking about how kind of mundane his sex life is and everything. And he's talking to Danny, who's probably not had sex for a very long time. And I feel like when Chris Columbus was probably writing it down and he's imagining this scene and he's got like John Candy and Jim Belushi there. I'm imagining, you know, he's thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be really funny, but there's something about it that just doesn't hit the high notes at all. Like, I don't know if it's the way it's delivered or, you know, the directing or what have you, but yeah, I don't think there's really much in this movie that it is really laugh out loud funny. What I do think, though, I do think it is charming, and I feel like I say, if I'd have watched this when I was 15 or whatever, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it because I would have been expecting the slapdash sort of comedy that John Candy does. But actually watching it now, all these years later, I actually really liked it.
Well, it's funny because I'll be honest with you, I actually liked it as well. I felt when I was watching the start of it, I was a bit like, okay, love story. I mean, Ali Sheedy and John Candy. Let's discuss that, Dave. I'm not having it. Not having it. I know it's not. It's just I'm not having it at all. John Candy looks like he's about 50, and Ali Sheedy's young, and just the dynamic just doesn't work. I'm not saying about the physical side of it. I'm just saying about like this whole idea. And even on the VHS cover, you've got like his mum, sort of like the camera's shot under his mum's legs, and she's got a skirt on, and there's John Candy with like him hiding her because he's a big guy. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. And even as a cop, he's not a good fucking cop, is he? But there is a great charm to the movie. And I do think when they sort of get together and he goes out with his mum, and you've got this other guy, aren't you, who's chasing the mum, innit? Like,
the Greek
Anthony
fella.
Quinn. Anthony Quinn. He's been, he's Nick Acropolis, the Greek
God.
neighbour. Fuck me. James Belushi's officer.
You mean actual
Sal.
Nick, who's Greek?
Yeah, Nick, who's Greek. Nick the Greek. Yeah, it's in that off Guy Ritchie, Nick the Greek. But obviously, Macaulay Culkin's in it. He's Billy Muldoon. Kieran Culkin's in it. He's Patrick Muldoon Jr. They did a favour. They were filming Home Alone at the time. But it's fucking James Belushi's name. Salvatore Sal Buenarti. Fucking hell. Where the fuck? Who wrote these names down? A fucking 3-year-old. Absolutely shit names.
I think at the time of writing, Chris Columbus might have just had the book of stereotypes right next to him.
Well, I think you're right. But I think even like when we, you know, I must keep fucking say Danny ends up sort of, he was meeting Rose. Not Rose, sorry, Teresa Luna's his girlfriend. It's when they're talking around the dead bodies and that, like it's nothing. Obviously, he's a cop, and you know, I'm not having him as a cop either, Dave. Who the fuck's he going to chase? Let's be honest. I don't like. And I'm being a hypocrite. I do not like body shaming someone, but anybody is, you know, he's 50 years old nearly. We always talk about this. We all have our hang-ups. Mine's body confidence, but I'm just not having it. It's like he just wouldn't pass any fitness tests to be a fucking cop. That's not being horrible. That's just the truth. That's just absolute nonsense. But yeah, I think there's a point in the movie where I give up on the laughs because it didn't make me laugh at all. Not once did it make me laugh. And these weird flashbacks he has about his mum, this is the whole point. And he like, as soon as he's doing something, that way his mum manipulates him, and it's all like sort of psychological warfare with him in it, making him feel guilty and everything. And then he he absolutely just buys it wherever he is. She pulls him back in because they go, I'm going to be on my own. And Dave, I've seen this. Fucking got the T-shirt for it. Trust me, this sort of stuff is not alien to me. But there is a point he goes, and I think when I did give up on the laughs and just saw it for what it was like a romantic comedy. The hook is the mum, but really the mum wants a bit of fucking Nick, the fucking Dick, the Greek, or whatever he's called, Big Dick Nick, and you can see there's something going on there. That's like the hypocrisy of it, isn't it, as well? And like, obviously, then his brother Patrick's like, well, you can come and live with me in Florida. And then Danny's still fucking like, no. But when they were getting married, Dave, and obviously she does the speech, doesn't she? And it's like, she's not no daughter nor of mine. And you're like, oh, fucking hell, here we go. She goes, she's a daughter. And you're like, yeah, woo. And these, honestly, I do think from about the halfway point in the movie, I'm with you. I really enjoyed it. I just saw it as a bit of a tale, a bit of a love tale. There was no comedy to it that I felt, that's really funny. But I really enjoyed it. And there was a couple of bits at the end I had a bit of a lump in the throat. I've got to be honest with you now. I think Justin's Pitch is just such an interesting movie with a really small cast and a quite closed set in Chicago where they are, that I just think there's a point where if you keep watching it, you'll enjoy it. And I think it won me over in the end, I must admit.
Yeah, and Maureen O'Hara, she was, as the overbearing mother, I think she was brilliant, because you are really, a bit like the actress who you said unfortunately passed away, but the Tony Soprano's mother, gosh, she was good at acting, because fucking hell, you're like, oh God, what a horrible person you are, and so manipulative. But apparently this was all written with Maureen O'Hara in mind, but they didn't realize that she'd actually retired. So they had to kind of coax her out of retirement. And another thing was, again, you think of Richard Hughes has produced this, he'd know how to treat his stars and whatever. But John Candy had like the big trailer and everything, because he's the headline star, and Maureen O'Hara didn't. And in the end, John Candy was like, well, this is wrong. You have my trailer kind of thing. So, and I don't know if you've seen the, what was it? I Like Me, the documentary on John Candy.
No, so I watched it on the plane, and I bloody didn't watch it again on the way home. It was there as one to watch when I was going, and I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, you should watch it at some point, and spoilers, we might have something for next week as well, or that might be another opportunity to watch that. But you did get the impression that John Candy was very much always, gracious with his time, and people sort of took advantage of that, but he was always very giving to everyone else. And so they ended up getting them both trailers in the end. But I thought that was a nice little sweet story about him.
Yeah, you know what? It's a sweet story, to be fair. And you're right, next week's episode, Dave, I've not watched it for years, but it was a bit of a classic, if I remember correctly. If it still holds up, I don't know, but we'll get to that at the end. No, I think you're right. I think for me, John Candy, his acting is good in the second part of the movie when there's a bit of jeopardy, because obviously they go to get married. He bottles it. She bottles it, really. They just sort of leave everyone at the altar as such, don't they? He's having a drink. She's like, I'm not coming. I feel that it all fizzles out, and you think, well, this is like, I like a bit of a rom-com. This is rom-com 101. There's going to be something. But I feel like he's just has enough of his mum, doesn't he? He's just like, fuck off. I'm sick to death of you. You've held me back. Patrick steps up after he obviously hit him when they were getting the suits for his wedding. Yeah. He clocked him one. But I think Patrick does sort of come into his own then. And I think that's where it works, doesn't it? Because you've got like Nick, the fucking Dick, on the plane with her as she gets on the plane. And he comes, and you can see that she wants that company. He like holds her hand. She has a go at him and then closes her eyes. And then he grabs her hand and she smiles. And I think that's where... Maureen O'Hara, she really wins me over then, Dave. It's just more of her. She's just lonely, isn't she? That whole movie really isn't about John Candy being lonely. For me, I got more of it's the mum. she just doesn't want to be lonely. She's got older, and then all of a sudden she's moving to see it with her grandkids. She's got this guy, and it sort of frees up Danny then, doesn't he, to actually have a bit of bollocks and not feel guilty. I did like the bit on the plane, though. That was pure fucking Naked Gun. So every time he's getting these flashbacks in here about like something's going to happen to, like, if he says to when they announced the engagement, and she says about, going to be my daughter, and the next minute he's got fucking the bloke's pissed up there, fucking driving her home when they get into a fender bender and all this, and then he has to ring home, and that's when they start arguing. She's just like, "It's always your mum, and all this." But the bit at the end's a classic where she's fucking on the plane, isn't she? Just before she holds fucking the dick's hang, she comes back from the toilet and the terrorists are there, and it's full on fucking Leslie Nielsen, and she just kicks the shit out of him because it's obviously all in Danny's head.
Yeah,
and then I love the fact though she breaks the fourth wall and goes, "Danny, I'm going to be fine." After she's beat everyone up and everyone's like giving her a round of applause. I thought that bit was actually really good. That's the only bit where I laughed and I thought, you know what, that's absolutely brilliant swerve at the end.
I hadn't made the connection to Naked Gun, but as soon as you said it, I just thought about that opening bit where he's going in after Gorbachev and Colonel Gaddafi and everything.
Oh, I love it. Fucking taking his birthmark off his head and everything. Yeah. It's fucking brilliant. But I think that's a brilliant part of the movie, to be honest. It's really, really good. And obviously Danny then gets up the courage to get her, doesn't he? He comes to fucking, well, this is all around the same thing, but he comes and stops the train, doesn't he, and everything. And they get on and he says, "Oh, I know someone in New York, I can get a transfer." And that's when that bit's brilliant, the end. It takes you out because it's stupid, but it's almost, to be honest, that's almost a callback to Trading Places, Planes, Trains and Automobiles, when him and Neil are in the car and the devil comes, doesn't it? Fucking that's like that. That's that sort of comedy where you get this like almost sort of Acme Bugs Bunny type, like in the middle of the movie. You do get that with some of John Candy's movies. So I do think that is a cracking bit at the end, but it's quite heartwarming at the end. Like I say, if you don't see it as a comedy, other than that bit, I really went with the story. I think the mum, Maureen O'Hara just goes from someone you don't like to someone you sympathise with, and it's like, she's just really lonely. So honestly, I think Justin Pick's a great movie. It's really, really different, and somewhat I thought, this is going to be a load of crap, and it's not, honestly. I don't know where the pleasure and pain is, Dave, because I thought I really enjoyed it.
And with this one as well, I mean, it's not widely available on streaming services or anything, is it? So, it's just one of those. I was looking up, and it seems one of those that's fallen between the cracks, because really, I think this was done under 20th Century Fox. It should be on Disney Plus, but whatever the issue is with distribution or what have you, it's just not really that widely available. So if you want to pick it up on Amazon, you got to pay about 50 quid or something. So I don't understand why it isn't there, but what I was going to say is what I like about it, and it does it in a little bit of a ham-fisted way, but given that it's kind of the early 90s, and still it was probably half written or imagined in the late 80s, it touches on a bit of the psychological side of things, doesn't it? I mean, on the face of it, it's, it's overbearing mother, and, this isn't the first movie to sort of talk about those things. But even when he meets Ali Sheedy, and it's a real coming together of those John Hughes universes for me. It's like they're kind of Home Alone and Planes, Trains and Automobiles, John Hughes, but then you got like the Breakfast Club type John Hughes as well. It's those two things meeting together. But she's obviously, a bit autistic or something. That's what you would say today, isn't it? If this movie was made now, and she's very introverted, not dealing well in social situations or anything like that. But then also, like I say, I don't know what labels I would put on it, but the thing I find fascinating about Rose is even when, Nick is putting on the full moves and everything, and he comes off a bit sleazy, she's almost like Mrs. Bouquet, isn't she? In that, it's almost outward appearances. She has to be better than that. All these, these Greeks, they're all randy and everything, and we shouldn't fraternize with them. But you can see, even in the early interactions, she does have a bit of a twinkle in her eye for him. And she kind of likes that chase, I think. So it's only at the end when she finally lets go and lets herself, explore whatever that's going to be. But as well, just the psychology of it. And I just find it fascinating for that reason.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, and also, like you say, it's so expensive to buy. It's not readily available. It's yeah. I think for both of us, I think this is not. It's not something that I don't want to go out and buy it, but it's something that if people said like, "Well, has anyone got any John Candy movies?" I'd recommend this. If because everyone's seen all the usual stuff, I would recommend this all day long. I just think it's a bit of a gem, to be honest. I think it's a really good movie.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Chris, should we get into our final review?
Let's go. So, Justin, thank you so much for picking this on. I went in completely surprised and not understanding what the movie was about. Like I say, once I got past the comedy side of it, because I don't think there's great comedy in it until the end. John Candy's sort of carrying the whole movie, really. And well, actually, no, John Candy and Maureen O'Hara are really good. I think the supporting cast are pretty crap. But I've really, really enjoyed it. And I genuinely would recommend this to anybody. So I'm actually going to put this, Dave, not in Hall of Justice. Oh my God, you can tell I've got jet lag, Dave, in Hill Valley. I'm going to put this in Pleasantville. I really enjoyed it. It's not going to Cloud City, but I would definitely watch this again. It was a really, really good movie, and I'm really pleased that we watched it. And I know it took about 10 days for us to record it because I've been chomping at the bit, but honestly, what a great movie.
To be fair, I don't know exactly how long you've been awake for, but it's longer than 24 hours. So
yeah,
you've actually been a lot more coherent than I thought you might be. So
I was nodding a minute ago when you were talking, and that doesn't happen normally, Dave. I swear to God, my head was going. I was like,
just par for the course.
Yeah. Well, when we say the same thing to each other, just spoke about. Yeah,
I just said that, Chris. None of that today. Well, I'm quite surprised you put it quite so high. I mean, I think for me, I really enjoyed it, and definitely sort of 10 minutes in, I didn't think I was really going to enjoy it. I found it a bit of a slog, but I think I reset my expectations mid-watch, and that's why I think, actually, you know what, if I watch this again, I might think of it even higher, because it is some of the, the cast is just brilliant. All of those faces from that time in the late 80s, early 90s, it just feels so comfortable and so, I don't know, it makes you feel warm inside just to see them all together. I think the missing comedy was probably the biggest miss, I guess. But when you reset your expectations, that it is just a bit of a romantic comedy, but also it's playing on some serious themes as well, and it's not just the kind of buffoon, over the top John Candy. He's actually trying to be quite vulnerable in the different moments there. I do think the tone is a bit all over the place, though, because when you go to these surreal moments, almost like, Scrubs style or Family Guy style, it doesn't fit for me. I don't think the film really needs that. I think it would have been better if it had just kept with the, not more serious tone, but, more of a black comedy than the surreal type stuff. But for me, I think it's a Hill Valley. I think it's bang in the middle, better than what I thought it was going to be. Definitely would recommend it to watch. But yeah, probably not in my top 5 John Candy movies.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I think it's just the end bit caught me off guard. And I'd like to say that fucking plane bit's a classic. That's a great ending to the movie. But Dave, next week is another Patreon pick, and it's Mr. Kent Gustafsson, who has Been a patron across the VHS Strikes Back and the CD Reality Cast for many years, Dave. I think Mr. Tony Farina is the longest standing patron and support and friend, but I think Kent's not far behind. So, Ken, we do appreciate all your support, mate. And he also has a birthday, I think, on the same day as mine, or it's a day before Dave. So, we're both Sagittarius. He's a good lad, Ken. But he's picked, Dave, a movie which stars John Candy, but he's not the main actor in this one, Dave. This one stars Mr. Richard Pryor. This one is a classic, and this one is also in the Trading Places world, Dave. So we are going to be reviewing Brewster's Millions. So let's get into the trailer.
Money. Everyone wants it. Until now, Monty Brewster didn't have it.
I remember almost nothing about this, Chris, but I remember loving
money
it.
the old-fashioned way.
I
You
love
have
it
30
as well.
days in which to spend $30 million.
He inherited it.
If you can do it, you get $300 million. But if you fail, don't get diddly.
Why can't I tell my friends?
Because I don't want anybody helping you out.
What's wrong? Spike, what's wrong? $30 million.
I've got a feeling this is going to be terrible.
This is a good day, you know.
He can't keep it unless he can spend it and have nothing left but the shirt on his back.
Well, we're going to have a lot of fun with this kind of money. Jake, I'd like to hire you as my official photographer. Salary, $10,000 a week. How would you like to be my personal driver for the next 30 days at $5,000 a week?
What a country. America, love it.
Hey, everybody, anybody want to go to lunch?
Everyone thinks he's crazy.
I want to bet $50,000. And when up, we'll sell it.
I think we should consider the possibility of psychiatric help.
At the rate you're going, you'll have spent your entire inheritance in less than a month, and you'll have nothing to show for it.
But $300 million says he's right on the money. Richard Pryor and John Candy.
It's like that old saying, you know, if for money I'd be a millionaire, I'm a millionaire.
Brewster's Millions. Coming soon from Universal Pictures.
I just don't remember this one being replayed at all, but in terms of pop culture, I mean, everyone around our age kind of knows, you know, what Brewster's Millions is, I'm sure. So I'm hoping that we're going to enjoy it, but I'm a little bit scared about going back for this one as well.
Yeah. I'm like you. I think I watched it and loving it, but David's got to be 30 years since I've watched it at least. So I don't know. Maybe it needs to just stay in the 80s. But the fact it's got John Candy, Richard Pryor, I'm looking forward to also watching it this week.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
So as always, thank you everyone for supporting the podcast. Me and David really appreciate it. If you want to email us, the VHSStrikesBack@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media at VHSStrikesBack. If you do want to support us, please get up to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. So, the roll call of honor, and a big thank you to Graham, Matty V, Nick, Greg, Gareth, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Dan, Justin, Susan, Tim, Matt, Hales, Kent, Lucky Lulu Green, Herb, Jack, Math, Blake, John, Albert, and Mr. Tony Freeda, Dave. It's about 28 hours. I apologise to everyone, but thank you for your support. I am absolutely fucked, but this has been amazing. I had to do it. I didn't want to let anyone down. I needed to get back in the rhythm, and we'll be back to normal service next week. But thank you for waiting on me, mate, because I know you do all the editing on this, and I appreciate the pissing about that you've got to do now. So thank you.
That's all right. Yeah, I could feel the battery's running out slightly. You've done amazing. You're so much more coherent than I thought you were going to be. But yeah, I could hear it a little bit where you're like, I think you might just pass out in about 5 minutes. So
yeah, my head's going.
So, Chris, just before that moment, I have to say, usually when we're talking about a bit of an Irish jig, we're talking about Burt Reynolds movie or something. But in this time, I thought there was such an Irish theme about everything. I thought, let's just go for it. Let's do a proper Irish shindig sort of type song. And yeah, obviously it's got to be about Rose, isn't it? As you said, it's less about Danny, I feel, and this movie is more about Rose. And yeah, I just I just had to go for it. So here we go.
Oh, mate. We're at the Temple Bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the city of Chicago in 1991, there lived a copper Danny Moore Maureen's only son. He was broad as a wardrobe and gentle as rain, but he lived with his mammy and her powerful disdain. She'd a tongue like a hatchet and a heart full of woes, and the neighbors all whispered, there's no crossing roads. I'll pick you up at 7 if nobody dies, said the soft-hearted copper with love in his eyes. But his mother stood guard like a banshee in clothes, and the hardest case Danny had ever known was Rose. Then along came Teresa with a smile shy and sweet, selling makeup and dreams down a quiet city street. Danny fell like a wardrobe thrown out from above, for the poor lad had finally encountered true love. But Rose took one look and declared with a frown, she's not fit for my boy, she's a tart from downtown. I'll pick you up at 7 if nobody dies, said the soft-hearted copper with love in his eyes. But his mother stood guard like a banshee in clothes, and the hardest case Danny had ever known was Rose. Now Danny chased robbers and stood up to crime, but he couldn't tell Rose he'd be late home by 9. He could cuff every hoodlum from here to Peru, but his mother said Daniel, and his courage withdrew. He'd a badge on his chest and a gun at his side, but no weapon was forged for a mammy's wounded pride. I'll pick you up at 7 if nobody dies, said the soft-hearted copper with love in his eyes. But his mother stood guard like a banshee in clothes, and the hardest case Danny had ever known was Rose. Rose spoke of Ireland and men long since dead, of betrayal and sorrow and things best unsaid. She'd carried her loneliness year after year, then poured it on Danny with guilt, rage and fear. For love in that household came wrapped up in chains, with a stew on the hob and emotional pains. So raise up your glasses to candy so grand, a giant with kindness in each mighty hand. To Teresa, still hopeful though battered by life, and Rose with her thunder, her grief and her spite. It's comedy, sadness and motherly blows, like being hugged by a storm cloud that's wearing old clothes. I'll pick you up at 7 if nobody dies, said the soft-hearted copper with love in his eyes. But his mother stood guard like a banshee in clothes, and the hardest case Danny had ever known was Rose. So here's to poor Danny, who finally chose a life of his own past the shadow of Rose. For a good son can love her and still need to go, though she'll curse from the window and mutter below. And if love comes calling through sorrow and rain, you answer the door before Mammy complains. Hey, I'll pick you up at 7 if nobody dies, with a badge on his chest and a date in his sights. But his mother stood guard like a banshee in clothes, and the hardest case Danny had ever known was Rose. Yes, the hardest case Danny had ever known was Rose. No robbers, no killers, no villains or foes, just his mammy in the hallway in her old Sunday clothes. And the hardest case Danny had ever known was a Rose. Hey!
That's class.
So there you go, Chris.
Brilliant.
So, I mean, like you say, you can imagine that, can't you? Down the old Temple Bar, having a pint of Guinness and having the band play that. So, yeah, and I didn't mention it, did I, the main review, but one of the lines that I did like was when, John Candy was trying to rule out all the reasons why Teresa wouldn't go on a date with him, and then they finally agree, he'll pick her up at 7, and they keep saying, oh, yeah, if nobody dies, obviously she needs to, do people up in the funeral parlour. So, yeah, quite like that one. And like I say, hadn't gone full-on Irish Rover before, so something a bit different. But thank you very much, sir. Thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters. And we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. It's game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's odd. We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
Get to the chopper!
One ring to go.
All right. Ding, ding.
Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on. Come on, ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid fool. Maybe you crazy something. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I'll see you in 6 months.
I must break you.